So, it's been a while since I've done a video. 2 weeks. It's nearly 3. Hey, so I think I must do a review circle on Smallfoot. So I at least have a video out this week, because I don't want to go 3 whole weeks without a video. Anyways, on to my review circle of Smallfoot. Migo is a young Yeti who is next in line to be the Gong winner. However, after his first practice gong went wrong, Migo believes that he's a small creature called the Smallfoot, which is the film's version of humans, by the way. No one in the village believes him, except for the SES, as a small Yeti group that want to help Migo prove that he really did see a Smallfoot. So I'm not sure if many people know this, but there have been a few films that have a similar thing, having Yetis and Sasquatches. You had DreamWorks, who did an amazing movie with Abominable. Missing Link, you have Laika, who did one of the most underrated animated films of 2019 with Missing Link, and then you have Smallfoot. The first of the trilogy, and one that I would say is the most engaging. I wouldn't call it the best of the 3, but it is a really enjoyable movie. And here are a few reasons why. First, I really enjoy what they did with the characters in this film. The Yetis have their own personalities that stick them out from each other, yet you root for them all as one character. So with Migo, our protagonist, he's the curious Yeti who when he's a Smallfoot, believes that there's a stone wrong. If he wants everyone in the village to believe him and be allowed back in the village, he'll have to prove to everyone that this creature is real. And that's where he gets help from the SES, led by Michi, who, like Migo, is curious about everything, and has a big belief that Smallfoot are real, and most of the stones are wrong. She's not one that would follow the steps of her dad, the Stone Keeper. Speaking of which, some could argue that he's the film's antagonist, where he does his best to make everyone believe that Smallfoot don't exist, as well as bringing lies to the whole village. However, he's actually a really character, for he believes that the Smallfoot are monsters, like we think of Yetis as monsters. So why he's doing this is it's because he wants to keep the whole village safe, and doesn't want them to get too curious. I also want to and that the Smallfoot themselves can turn people off. You have Percy, who's a character that's not who's just as one of those James Corden roles where all his acting's good, the character he's playing doesn't really have the most original concept to him. And the same can be said for his assistant, Brent Ender, who wants Percy to focus on reality and show integrity. If they want more views on the on the little series that has been going on a downhill spiral. But if I can say one thing, each of the actors did a great job with who they voiced. Each character, so it looks like the actors were supposed to be in the film. Zendaya does an amazing job as Michi. LeBron James does a surprising job as one of the Yetis from the SES. Like I said before, James Corden does a good job with Percy, and Danny DeVito does really well with Miguel's dad, and who trusts his son and is starting to worry if maybe the songs are wrong. And now on to the songs. This ain't like the biggest musical you'll ever get, but you have 4 songs that can work pretty well. I might get the weak 2 out of the way. I do think while Percy's Pressure is a decent song, it's just trying to copy the Queen's Pressure, not to make it feel like a really original song. And the same can also be said about Let It Lie, which on its own had the potential to be a really good song. And some could count it as a villain song if they count the Stonekeeper as a villain. But when you have someone just talk all the way through the whole song, it really ruins it for you. But the other 2 songs are really good. Perfection is a good opening number to the film, while Wonderful Life is one of the offers the most beauty to the film. I'll explain more of that when I get into the animation part. But now let's get into the story. This is one of those films that, while the story seems predictable, the execution is really unique. It's like a Flip the Legends type of film. Where instead of us humans fearing Yetis, it's Yetis fearing us humans. Sounds predictable, yeah, especially in a lot of moments, but I think what makes the story really work well is how the movie focuses on its message. And I can say it's one of the best messages in an animated film from 2018, where curiosity is a good thing, but it's important not to get too curious of the world around us. and sometimes we have to try to be safe. And lies aren't always the best way to keep your people safe as well. It's one of those films that tries to handle so many messages, and yet not only does it work, it does so in an entertaining way. The same can also be said about the humour. This is a pretty funny comedy, and the jokes are really funny. It's one of those films where, while you can see a few gags that aren't perfection, but you can also see other gags that are really good. And then there's the animation. Some people have complained about the animation because it's been too cartoony. Well, it's a cartoon, you can't blame it, and it really fits well for a movie like this. One of the biggest criticisms I have people talk about the film are the eyes of the characters. Because while the rest of the designs aren't bad, the eyes feel too small for an animated feature. However, I won't say that the eyes are bad. In fact, they actually did a really good job with the eye on each of the characters. Yeah, at times they can look a bit too small, but they actually fit the designs really well. And the character animation moves really quick. Like the Yetis have a quick pace where they can be cartoony at 1 minute, but show their movements in a familiar way, humans in their own unique way. But the best part about the animation for me is during the musical numbers, where the animation really shines in order to offer some great visual effects, making them some of the best visual songs in the movie of the 2010 decade. Okay, so overall, I wouldn't call this one animation group's best film, but I would say it's definitely one of their funniest. Smallfoot is an enjoyable and fun animated feature where, despite its flaws, it works really well. It knows it doesn't have the most original story, but that's where the film really shines, and to often twists, as well as offering some pretty good songs, some great animation, and some really likeable characters, as well as great humour and fun, and some messages that people could be thinking about. I would highly recommend this for if you like movies about fantasy creatures or films about legends just being flipped around. And it's really an interesting concept for the film. And it's exactly why I'm giving this film an 8.5 out of 10. I did want to give it a 9, but I think if I put it in the middle between an 8 and a 9 with an 8.5, you can see how how close this film got to perfection. So what am I going to do in the next episode of the review circle? Well, I don't think I've done a live action film yet this year. Oh well. I don't mind. I'll take a look at one. I'm not sure what live action film I'll do yet, but you will find out in the next Review Circle episode. See you later, folks.